Wargamers. Mr. Wargaming here with our old pal Biscotti. Going to do a December 2022 hobby update, show you what we've been working on here in the House of Wargaming, talk about some plans for 2023. Let's go to the table. Let's start with terrain. There's our old pal. Remember Poultry Joe? He used to run with the crew of the Black Raven, and then I got another little Coruscant miniature. He comes from Alternative Armies. She comes from a Starship crew pack from Coruscant, but I just wanted to put them down here for scale. Let me show you kind of from the ground up. I've got a couple of egg-shaped bases here. What are they, about 5 mil? And just texture them with a little bit of sand, some pebbles from the garden. And then for the first time, and just to tie this together with the fauna, I use this product. This is just that tuft grass that it comes with a sticky back. I went with a fire color because it looks suitably alien. I thought green might not do such a good job tying in with all of the weird colors from the aquarium plants. This is a very simple terrain project. You go out and you buy the cheapest aquarium and terrarium plants that you can find. Paint it up right, and then the last thing you do is throw these little tufts on. These come to us by way of, who's the paint guys? Vallejo. And I really wanted to go with more of a pink and purple, but I think the red and yellow, it's called like Autumn Fire or something. I think it really works out well. And it comes in these fun little like arcs and clumps. And then you see how there's another one here and there. So it all kind of ties together. So we do have some terrain that is just for slowing down vehicles, slowing guys down. And then let's really talk about what we did to make our aquarium plants, kind of spruce them up a little bit. Now, you can just buy, and take a look here, right? This looks like a little tea candle of ceramic. And you could just drop this right down on the table, and I gave it kind of little bluish vines around there. I'm not really thrilled with that little tea candle cement thing there, but, you know, what are you going to do? It's fine. I did throw down, this is just regular packing foam that I made sure to coat with PVC, because you can't spray paint it. Everything is brushed, and then I tied it together with, if you take a look here, so this plant here comes on a little sand-colored rock. And so to disguise that that's what that is, I went ahead and put these weird kind of foamy-looking pumice stones, but like giant pumice stones. The one thing I would tell you to do when you go to the store to look for these, and I mentioned this in a previous video, but since we're talking more about terrain in this case, the one thing I would do is go ahead and grab, so there's two things actually. The first thing is go ahead and grab some regular green plants. It's December, so we have some nice frosted with ice and just, you know, and glitter. And what that does is it adds a little bit more variety to things. And again, it's kind of a megafauna kind of thing going there. But the other thing to pay attention, so don't be afraid to use every plant in your arsenal. And what that did for me is it allowed me to, see here, look. See how these two have the exact same leaf pattern? And then again, this guy has the same leaf pattern as well, this little giant pine. So by doing that, it ties these two together and gives you a little bit more of a uniform look. It helps with the base. They're all in gray with the big yellowish bases. So tie it together like that. It helps visually. The third thing I would do is, you know, pick a variety. But the one thing that I wish I would have done, look at these. These look genuinely fake. They are monocolor plastic, and they don't look organic at all. Compared to, for example, this one with the yellow and orange. You've got that little fade in between, or the blue and the green here. And then again, here is kind of a dark gray with purple. Just that extra little bit of color helps. And the other thing that I did, and again here with this green, there's a little bit of yellow in there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera so well. But by adding a full riot of color, it's kind of a delicate balance between throw some plants in there to tie it together, make sure you're picking a good variety otherwise, and if you, again, pay attention to your basing strategy, if you use just little visual indicators like our little weeds here that grow in the cracks between the rocks, then you'll find that you have a full table. And of course, by going with a gray on gray, this is like a t-shirt fabric that cost me about $6 at Walmart. It blends in with the earth, if you will, our drop cloth, and it really just gives you a nice cohesive whole. Again, over here on this piece, we have that kind of tea candle of hard plastic. I tried to trim it a little bit and carve it to look more rocky. It didn't work so hot. So the best I could do there is just pile the rocks around it. Cover it up as best you can. And if a little bit shows, just turn it away from the camera. Or, you know, just understand that you do the best you can with what you got. One last thing before we move on. Also, vary your bases. I used 4 different kinds. I've got a small round, I've got a big egg shape, I've got a rectangular, kind of a rounded rectangle, and I've got a pure circle. And what that does is it just adds a little bit more variety to these giant clumps, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility when you throw them on the table. And what you'll find is, if you look at them from the top, the amount of coverage they give you is, it will kind of take on the shape of the bottom as well to give your table just that little bit more organic variety. So that's it for terrain this time around. Let's go ahead and take a look at the miniatures that we've got painted up, and boy howdy, were we productive on that front. We'll start with these handsome fellas from Rebel Miniatures. They are listed in the catalog as mall security cops, or private security, I guess you could call them. They do have little badges, little police. So this guy, look at this. He's got a little coffee cup, a little donut. I think you just make that out. This guy is packing a shotgun. A lot of these guys have, big heavy belt buckles and whatnot. I went ahead and painted them with blue and black. They do look a little washed out. They're a little bit gray. I don't think I waited long enough between putting so my system for protecting the paint jobs is to hit figures with a coat of matte varnish. That provides a little bit of protection. I find the second step is to hit them with a brush on gloss acrylic. That makes them very shiny. But if I don't do the spray varnish first, then the brush on varnish peels up the paint. Then, because of their shiny, I have to hit them with a third coat of dull coat, another spray matte varnish. And unfortunately with these guys, I don't think I waited long enough for that second matte varnish because they did wind up getting a little bit cloudy. We'll see if we can get you to focus on this fella here. And they are kind of speckled and spattered. They look fine from the table. See, he's got a big bushy mustache. But it's not great, but we'll go with it for now. Too much effort to go back and redo, and I do have plenty of other cops, but these are kind of the standard beat cops. And, sometimes, live and learn, right? Make sure you let that brush on varnish dry overnight before you hit it with a matte. Now I know, or at least an hour. So those are from Rebel Miniatures. Now this big batch of modern troops comes to us by way of viewer Ian, Phoenix, Arizona. He sent these to me early in the year, and I'm just now getting around to getting them on the table. They were about half done, and I have tried to do justice to what he had started with. I can't take full credit for the excellent paint job on these because he got me started. He laid everything out, and I just kind of took the baton from him and crossed the finish line. I went with a desert sand base. However, I do use green tufts on all of my bases. We've talked about this before. I've trained my eyes. I barely even see my bases anymore, at least when they look like this. And, even in the middle of the desert, sometimes you see a little bit of sagebrush, a little bit of bushes. So thank you to Ian for these. I'm looking forward to getting these on the table. Maybe using some, I don't see any reason why you couldn't use Xenos Rampant with these guys, except that I don't have quite enough. Now, to rectify that, I did go ahead and order some additional U.S. military guys. These figures come to us by way of Coruscant Miniatures. As you can see, I have a nice big recoilless rifle. And then these guys are supposed to be, maybe it'll look a little better if I flip it over. Yeah, there you go. So I got a mortar team as well. At least for the Team Yankee, they do have some reinforcements coming in. I'm not sure how to deal with these guys and reinforcements. I need to find 15mm Toyota Hiluxes, get 1 or 2 of those, and then I think we'll have a nice evenly matched force. If I go with these guys as heavy infantry, they're not going to be matched at all. Maybe do some more Black Ops. We are due for some Black Ops, I think, and these guys would work really well for that game. But in addition to these modern troops, let me just throw these guys down. Now, these guys, I believe the manufacturer for all of these figures is Rebel Miniatures. They have that Rebel Miniatures look. I know the guy here in dark blue and the guy in dark gray. These guys are Rebel Miniatures. You get 4 of these operators in a pack, and if we bring him in a little bit closer, I did go ahead and give him the nice green. He looks a little glossy. I'm a little surprised. I did hit these guys. He's got the knife over here, And just to kind of break it up a little bit, I did the very simple. This guy, I bent his arm, and so they have slightly different poses. And of course, black on black and blue on black means that if I want to send in 2 Delta operators, Navy SEALs, whatever you want to do, super spies for the, I'm thinking maybe those guys might work really well with the alt hero superhero table, which we're still looking for. If you have a recommendation for a solid superhero miniature war game, let me know, because I've tried a few of them and they never work. I don't know what it is about superheroes and miniature war games. It's a really hard genre to deal with. Again, if you have a recommendation, let me know. So there's our moderns, and we have just a few more fantasy figures for you. These come from Splintered Light, and they were part of a mixed collection, kind of a thank you that Mr. Splintered Light sent our way when we put in an order for a fairly substantial rat creature army. A couple of more wolves. Went with kind of the standard Timberwolf color this time. These are the same wolves that I use for the goblins, but I painted them more of in a dark black and reddish theme for dire wolves. They're really big. We do have a lovely witch hunter here. Probably should have got him done in time for Thanksgiving, but that's fine, whatever. And then a couple of barbarians. We'll tip him up so you can see he's got the little goatee going. And then our big giant boy, 7 foot tall. He is one half of your favorite thief. And Michael Moore, is it Michael Moorcock? Big old Fafford. I don't think it's Moorcock. I'm drawing a blank. You guys probably know who wrote Fafford and the Grey Mouser. I have a Grey Mouser floating around here somewhere, but that's just the vibe this old fella's given me. And, went with white on green. I think it looks fantastic. So that's it for the painted figures. There's one last little thing I want to show you guys. I want to do something kind of, quote, live on camera. I know we're not live. It's videotaped. But I want to show you one last little project that I'm still working on. These are micro machines, and I based them up for Gaslands. This is a G.I. Joe figure that had the rocket launcher. It was perfect. These I had to build. I just bought the micro machine, and then if you go on, I think it's Etsy, there's a feller selling you just the weapons. So I was able to construct those, paint them. They look really good. The problem I have, and I haven't played it yet because I'm a little twitchy here, because my template. Now, this Veer template comes to us from Litco, and Litco sells 2 sizes. This one, which is about 15 millimeters across the front, or the standard full inch across. It's not even a full inch, it's bigger than that. I need a template that is 25 millimeters across. The bigger templates that you find in the book are too big. This is too small. I really want templates that are exactly 25 millimeters across. I asked Litco if they could produce those for me, and they said, sure, that'll be $60, and I snooped right on out. I'm not spending $60 for templates that I could just shrink down on my computer. If you guys know of anybody that has the STL files that can print these for me, that I can just tell them and explain to them, people get really weird because this is a complicated process. Look, I just need this length right here to be 25 millimeters, and they go, and everything should scale appropriately. If you have a good source that can print me some specific for my needs, please throw something down in the comment section so that I can find and actually get this on the table for once. I don't really like the idea. In Gaslands, for those of you that don't know, you put the template down in front, and I really don't like the idea of the car being able to slide over like that. Or where do I put my template here? Do I put it there? I just want a template that's the right size, 25 millimeters across. That might be being a little bit anal retentive, but I don't care. In the meantime, I don't have a whole lot of room for these. I do have some unfinished business. I have a few more. I have enough room in my box. I'm going to be building a killdozer so that we can drive through town. I have another pickup truck. Most of what I have is, and then a nice big Jeep, so I can kind of round out the collection with a little bit more variety. But the reason I mention this, and then here I guess I can show you. This is what the 3D printed weapon kits look like. So there's a nice little magnetic weapon, and here's once I get this guy ready to go, you just glue the rockets on there, and then you're done. Look at that. See, we just went from micro machines to Gaslands in no time flat. The question is, why am I showing you all this stuff? Well, I was at the store, and it is Christmas time. It is December 2022. I think I mentioned that earlier in the video. And in the stocking stuffers, we've got Tonka. Now, I'm not sure if Tonka is going to work because The Micro Machines are a little out of scale. They're a bit cartoony. Tonka generally tends to be truly in scale. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's find out together. If these are really cool, I may just go ahead and say, you know what? I have quite enough of the race cars, and we'll replace and swap it out for the Micro Metal. So here we go. A little bit of a surprise unwrapping. You can see it's still mint in the box, but not for long. This is my everyday carry knife. If you don't have an everyday carry, this little nice little multi-tool, I started carrying it for work, and now I feel naked when I leave the house without it. So, how do we open this crazy thing? It looks like it, do we just pull? Yep, there we go. So we have oh, look at that with the tank treads. That's pretty hot. I like that. That might be a better Killdozer than this one, actually. We may just file 13 that bad boy. Because the tank treads is an upgrade you can buy for Gaslands that allows you to ignore rough terrain. Slows you down, but I think that's a much better. I'll have to do some research and look up what the Killdozer really was. So here we go. Mint in the box, and then we have a nice big... Oh, that is a little more cartoony than I expected from Tonka. But now we have, look at that, we get a nice little ladder truck. We should be able to pack that with all kinds of stuff. We may wind up using that treat it as a bus. It definitely is that size. And I don't know, maybe bust the ladder off and you've got yourself a nice big turret, or put one of those big old cannons on it. So and I think these were like $2. You know, it's a little bit addictive. It's easy to get carried away with Gaslands because it's so much fun to take these things and armor them up. And that's what we're going to do here. We are definitely going to put a whole armor frame, and we'll paint it up and make sure your town is following the zoning laws and not screwing over a guy that bought property under what turn out to be false pretenses. We're big fans of the Killdozer here. It's American spirit. What can I tell you? That's all I have for you today. I want to thank you for coming along for this little walkthrough journey of what's been on my craft table. You should see all of these in videos sometime in 2023. I don't have any plans. I don't have everything uploaded yet, except for try to get as much stuff on the table. That's what we do here in the House of Wargaming. And if I don't see you before then, if we don't do a live stream, let me just wish you guys all the best in 2023. I hope that you do so much gaming, you can't even believe it. I hope that all of your gaming comes up just the way you want, and I hope you feel free to experiment and improve on every single aspect of this amazing hobby we share. Till next time, I am praying for you.